Harlem by Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? So looking at Harlem by Langston Hughes, there's two ways to look at this. First, you look at it in a historical context. Langston Hughes wrote this in 1951, okay? And so when he talks about this dream deferred, he is talking about the kind of beginnings of the civil rights movement, the inequality of African Americans, whether it be separate water fountains and bathrooms all the way to segregated schools. So when he talks about this dream deferred, he's talking about that they've been putting off this equality in America. So historically speaking, that's what he's talking about. So it says, does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? When you see this, what he's talking about is the historical context of beginnings of the civil rights movement in the early 1950s. And you have to understand, this is, again, before things like Brown versus Board of Education. Okay? This is before segregation was still the law of the land. I don't care. Again, as Malcolm X said, if you're south of the Canadian border, you're not free. So we have a heavy context of always talking about the civil rights movement through the lens of Mobile, Alabama, and places in the South. But the truth of the matter is anywhere in America, things were not equal.
That one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
But one good thing about poetry, just like music, is you can apply this to yourself no matter what your situation is. Langston Hughes was speaking about a specific time period in a specific place, Harlem, New York. But this is a universal truth he's talking about, is what happens to a dream deferred? What happens when you put off your dreams? And that's basically what he's saying here. Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Now, we're going to review a little bit on what a simile is, but how do we know this is a simile? Because he uses the word like. Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? So is it something that once it's gone, you can't fix it? I mean, you can't kind of reverse a raisin in the sun because it used to be a grape. Or does it fester like a sore and then run? Again, using the word like, you're using a simile there, right? And then run. So is it this wound that doesn't go away when we talk about giving up on your dreams? It's something there to remind you it gets infected. In other words, it infects you, right? When you give up on your dreams, it's something that sticks with you and is painful. Does it stink like rotten meat? Again, using that simile. He's comparing that dream to being having a smell like rotten meat. It's something that is always going to be there. Or does it crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Again, simile, like. So, and again, I use this idea of honey because if you've ever had honey kind of dry up on you, it no longer has the consistency to be able to eat it. So it becomes that kind of sugary crust. And again, what he's saying is here's something, sweet, the idea of your dreams, the things that you want to do, the things you want to accomplish. And when you put them off or delay them, eventually you won't do them. And it won't be able to be repaired over time, right? Because again, when we look at these things he's talking about, once meat is rotten, once something like honey is crusted and sugared, there's no fixing it, right? And then he says it may sag like a heavy load. Again, just looking from the perspective of talking about your dreams, this is something that will burden you and stick with you if you don't accomplish it, if you don't try to do what you want to do, right? It's something that will weigh on you. You'll carry that burden. And then finally, he's doing a straight metaphor here. Or does it explode? Does the dream explode? In other words, it's over. It's not repairable. And he leaves it to the reader to decide what explodes. I mean, how it explodes. He doesn't say like an atomic bomb or like a grenade. Using the metaphor, Langston Hughes kind of leaves it to your own imagination, what you would imagine to be this dream that explodes because you have put it off and you're no longer going to do it. You're no longer going to achieve it. Now, just as a bonus at the end of this, I just wanted to talk to you as a review about a little bit of figurative language and when we talk about similes. Sometimes poetry seems kind of daunting to us. It seems like, oh man, this doesn't make sense, or this is too much for me. Well, the truth is that poetry is nothing more than something that is already a big part of your life, and it's called music, right? And at the end of this, what I want you to do is I'm going to show you some lyrics to songs that uses similes. And the reason I show this to you is of course, a review to know like or as being a simile, comparing two things. But what I also want you to understand is that poetry isn't that hard. It's just music. It's just things you already are into. And if you will look at poetry as music and look at music as poetry, it really kind of takes away any type of oh my God type of moment with poetry. All right, so enjoy it, check it out here at the end, but also remember, music is poetry, poetry is music, and don't let it whoop you, because that's all you got to worry about, right? Thanks for watching, guys.
Tension between us just like picket fences.
Cause it get cold like Minnesota. Cold like Minnesota. Cold like Minnesota. Cold like Minnesota.
I buy Ferraris like Jordans. I'm Mike and y'all Pip Hotch.
I like to rock it on misfits.
I'm camoed all out like I'm in the military. Yeah, that way. Float on the track like a Segway.
Soprano C, we like to keep it on the high note.
Always on like the refrigerator unplugged in.
Red dot, red dot, red dot, red dot, red dot on his nose like Rudolph.
Chain so heavy, I feel like I'm holding up a mountain.
I'm cooler than LL.
I just win again, then win again like Wimbledon I serve. Yeah, that's him again, the sound the engine in is like a bird.
I'm a rock star.
I said I'm like a pro, baby, knowing I was stunting.
Believe I'm a savage, yeah. I be itching like I had it, yeah. Everyone wanna act like they important, yeah. Everything custom like I'm at the bottom, yeah.
My life is like a ball game.
I'm a Vans on, but they look like sneakers. I'm a Vans on, but they look like sneakers. I'm a Vans on, but they look like sneakers.
I sit back and read like Cat in the Hat. 21 Savage, the cat with the mat.
Vibe switch like night and day. I can see it like right away.
I am not a fraud. Why am I the god? They don't make them like me no more, man. I'm a dinosaur. Little tune, not a cartoon or avatar. I did look in the mirror like, alright.
I'm at your head like Craig did Debo.
Living like I'm on a limit, let's peel, I kill the scene like I'm Denzel. Crazy like my jacket strapped up, yeah, I don't act, but I act up. Brown paper bag like the lunch packed up. Back up.
Going through the money like a phase. Young boy
like Denny Rock.
Waist, he look like a panda.